Hello and welcome to math. Okay, we are doing another lesson today. We are moving on. First, quickly, I'm just going to review a couple of things from yesterday. You guys all did very, very well in your assignment. The only comments that I have, I would have written back to you already. It was just the method of writing the fractions, okay? So some people, if it was like this grid, for example, awesome, it's out of 100. But if the grid didn't have 100 squares on it, only had strips or tens, then actually the fraction was truly only out of 10, not out of 100, okay? So that means then that your decimal would have been written as a tenth, not as a hundredth. So that would have been the only little minor piece of feedback from yesterday, and also writing it as a fraction and as decimal. Some people didn't do both. Okay, anyway, here we go. On to today. So for percent, this is the new outcome. So can you please write down this at the top of a new page, please, along with today's date, which is March 25th. And this is the I can statement. Okay, so I can explain that percent means out of 100 and that percent is a ratio out of 100. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Those of you who need to pause me, go for it. Also, again, as always, it's here. Okay, so what is percent? A percent is a special ratio that compares a number to 100. And this is the key thing. Maybe we should highlight this. It compares it to 100. Always, we need to have a percent out of 100. Okay? So a percent is another name actually for hundredth, because it's the amount that we have per out of 100. So just like we did yesterday. So percent actually means per, which is where the percent is, per hundredth. Maybe even cent. I don't know about this, but percent, I'm thinking like a cent that we would have in Canada is like 1 cent to make $1. 100 cents to make $1. So maybe that's kind of how it relates. Okay, so this would mean that if we have 20 out of 100, that also is 20%. Not really too complicated, but it's perfect translation from yesterday's homework. So even if I asked you to, I'm sure that you could do this. You could go into your work. Let's find somebody's work here. Here we go. All right, DR did it so well. So here, this would be 26%. This would be 40%. Okay, hopefully that kind of makes sense. You're seeing a bit of the transfer of what we're doing between these lessons. Okay, so, oops, actually I don't want to do that. Okay, so if I were to write this as a fraction, this is probably not really too difficult for us to do. I'll use my blue pen. Okay, this is harder for me on this computer than it is for you guys. Okay, so as a fraction, it would be 20 out of, 100, right? Not 2 out of 10, even though that would be an equivalent fraction. That's not really what this one shows. And then as a decimal, 0 and 20 hundredths, not 0.20, okay? Well, technically, yeah, fine, but 0 and 20 hundredths. So as a percent, it is 20%. All right, maybe if this is a test, person didn't really do so well, or if it's maybe like eating parts of a chocolate, you've only eaten 20 of your milk chocolate bar that you have, this much is gone, you've eaten 20%, so that means how much do we have left? If this is our milk chocolate bar, we have left to go 80%, I hope you're saying. Okay, great. All right, next is, okay, this will be pretty quick for us to go through. Okay, so there's 4 ways to write a value out of per 100. Okay, so first is word form, 50 out of 100. Okay, 50 marks out of 100, for example, is a fraction, 50 over 100 or 55 hundredths. As a decimal, same thing, 55 hundredths. So these are all equivalent. And as a percent, it is 55%. Hopefully not too hard. Okay, how do we do this one? Keep ahead of me. In word form, what would this be? Out of 100. Okay, actually, this is not out of 100. This is out of 10. What would it be out of 10? Okay, this is 7 out of 10. Okay. As a fraction, it is, what would it be? 7 over 10 or 70 over 100. Okay, so if you want to draw this in, you can. Okay, you can pause me along the way, or if you kind of feel like you get the hang of it, that's fine too. And then as a decimal, it would be, what would it be as a decimal? 0 decimal. I really wish I had my smartboard right now. 0, right? 0 decimal. Technically, this is 0.7 because it's 7/10. We know that's equivalent to 70 though, right? So if we have this, we're happy days because we know that we've just multiplied this by 10. So as a percent, is this 7% because I have it as 7 over 10? Or is it 70%? Oh, this is what we need to think about today. Or is it 70%? What do you think? All right, geniuses, let's hear it. Is this possibly 7%? No, 7% would be like, all right, would be like 7 of these little guys, right? Like if we had a ones thing, this would probably be, I'm just estimating here, right? This would probably be 7%, which is way smaller, of course, than 70%. We have almost all of it shown here. So the answer would be 70%. Okay? I hope that this makes sense. Hopefully this lesson today is not really too challenging for you. It's like I'm writing with my left hand or something. Okay, and then this is the homework. Oh, this is not due on Wednesday. This is due on Thursday. Okay, Thursday. So this is in your textbook. Questions, page 188, 189, questions 1 to 4. So that means you have to do 2 and 3, skip 5, do 6, skip 7, do 8, 9, and 10. Okay, you're going to see it. Don't freak out. It's not really that much. Okay. If I was to show it to you, look at this handy dandy. I have the textbook here. Okay. Oops. It's not really what I wanted to do. I just wanted to make this look bigger. Okay. So this is page 188. Okay. So you have to do this question. Write each of them as a fraction, a decimal, and a percent. Not that hard. Next, you have to write, oh, this is the shaded portion. Okay. For 2, you are writing the unshaded portion of these above from question 1. For the grid in question 1, add the percents. Add the percents you used to name the shaded and the unshaded. What do you notice? So for this, you would write A. Shaded is whatever you got, plus unshaded is what do you get? Okay, do that for each of them. 4, you have to do, which is you're just making an estimate. Then you're actually going to count it. Okay, voila. This is like microsurgery. You really have to zoom in and make sure you do an accurate job when you are doing the actual counting, like you're a microsurgeon who's operating on someone's tiny little nerves. Okay, and then number 5, you can skip just because you don't need to use base 10 blocks. It's so easy. You don't need to write this as a decimal. We're going to skip that one. Okay, this one, use 100 grid. So this one, I would like you to actually block out in your notebook 100 grid. Okay, so that's 10 by 10, 10 by 10. And then you're going to color this much. You're just going to follow the instructions. Okay, write it as, write the fraction, write the percentage as a fraction, and then write as a decimal and a percent to describe what is not colored. I think we are skipping 7, and then we're doing 8 through 10. Okay. It's not really that tricky. You guys can figure out. Word problem, figure out what they're asking. I'm not going to explain that. That's part of your smart thinking skills. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Good luck and have fun. We're just going to go over this tomorrow. Okay, I might ask you to send me a picture tomorrow of certain questions. But for now, your homework, just as always, is to complete your work, okay, by the morning, 8:30 in the morning. Okay, have fun. Great job, math superstars.